And you are listening to Canada Conversations on the WIDU Radio Network. I'm your host, Jay Reinstein, and today I have with me Nigel Bristow, running for U.S. Congress District 9. Welcome to Canada Conversations.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You've come a long way. If I could tell the listeners what District 9 encompasses, what's the geographic area?
All right, so starting in Cumberland County, and it's parts of Cumberland. Cumberland's divided between District 7 and 9. Then it goes to Hoke County, the entire Hoke. Then it goes to all of Moore County, all of Randolph County, certain parts of Guilford County, as Guilford's separated by 3 districts. There's 5, 6, and 9. All of Alamance County. Wow. And parts of Chatham County. And Chatham County is separated. It's between districts 4 and 9.
Wow, that's a large geographical area. So for listeners who may not, follow politics that closely, what does a U.S. congressman do that will most directly affect what goes on in Cumberland County?
Well, the main thing is congressman or congresswoman is, in essence, your representative to Washington, D.C. So that individual is responsible for identifying and addressing the needs in the district. So, for example, if you have an issue, whether it be if you're a veteran having trouble getting your benefits, you should be able to call your representative, and then your representative is your advocate that makes sure that your rights are protected.
Yeah, and I will say this, that I know from experience talking to your local congressman or U.S. senator about benefits. They have a great process in place that really can help you with the Social Security, disability, all of those things. Let's just talk about economic development and jobs. What role would you play if elected to Congress in helping to create jobs and supporting economic growth within Cumberland County? And I'm just really focused on the county, but you can talk about it in your entire geographic area if you'd like.
Well, the main issue with the affordability crisis is the rising food cost. And, while everyone's watching the prices of gas, food prices have gone up. So, in essence, it would be to create incentives for those companies to bring jobs into the area, as well as providing funding for, let's say, daycare, so that people can go out and get jobs or get better jobs and things of that nature.
Yeah. One of the things that wasn't a typical question I was going to ask, but I will ask it because I know you have a background in law enforcement. You worked for NYPD for 20 years. As a congressman, you hear that, and actually in many areas, crime is actually going down. Homicide numbers I just read today in many states and cities across the country are going down. What role does an elected official, a congressman, have in trying to reduce the crime numbers?
Well, how they impact that is providing certain funding for services that, for example, a police department may need, as far as training or resources that they would use to utilize strategies to prevent or deter crime, as well as providing funding for programs that, may be used for diversion programs.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again. We're talking to Nigel Bristow, very British-sounding name, but he's not British. Worked for NYPD for 20 years, running for District 9 for Congress. Let's talk about health care and mental health. Mental health is a big issue. You're hearing about it all the time now in this country. It is a problem. Access to health care and mental health services is a growing concern, not only in this state, but around the country. What can Congress realistically do to improve access, particularly in rural and some of these underserved parts of the country?
Well, part of the issue is the lack of people to afford that health care, whether it be mental health or physical health, and access meaning that there may not be enough providers. So Congress could provide funding to assist those emerging providers that are looking to expand into the rural areas.
Yeah, thank you. I want to talk now maybe a little bit about infrastructure and funding. And there are a lot of infrastructure needs around your district that you'll be serving, really around the state. How would you advocate to get better infrastructure, whether it's roads or whatever the responsibility would be for infrastructure? As a congressman, what would you be able to do?
Well, the main thing is you have to be able to form partnerships with community leaders. So these are your council people, your county commissioners, your mayors. That way, you have to work with them to identify what are the issues and what's needed the most in the community, and then come up with a comprehensive plan to address or repair that infrastructure. And with that, as a representative, then I would be able to go back to Washington and say, hey, this is what's needed in this particular area of the district, and work to provide that.
Yeah, what you hear about now in Washington, if you get elected to Congress, you'll be in D.C. Of course, you'll be coming back and forth to work with your constituents. What you hear is it is a divided Congress. Nothing is getting done. There's a lot of partisanship. How would you, if elected, work across party lines? What would be, because right now you don't see a lot of that. Maybe behind the scenes you do, but is there something you would do? You talked about partnership, but how do you work across party lines to get something done for the citizens?
Well, as a representative, you have to remember that you represent all, and not just the administration or one political party or another.
Right.
And it starts with people first. And based on that mission, you would have to have the ability, like I would have the ability, to work across the aisle. And because it's a possibility that that representative across the aisle may have had a similar issue in their district. So it would be my job to work with that individual and say, hey, I noticed in your district you had a similar situation. How did you address that? Could you assist me in coming up with a solution? And if I'm able to speak with the other party, then they would be more likely to say, you know what, Bristow, you make sense and you're willing to work across the aisle. I'm going to work with you to co-sponsor some legislation. Like John McCain worked across the aisle all the time, because
Yes, he did.
at the end of the day, it's about the people. So we need to have compromise in Washington. You need to be able to have that back and forth. Otherwise, nobody wins. And that's what we're seeing today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is there anything in particular, if elected, would be sort of, I'll rephrase it. If you had a magic wand, what would you change in Washington? Is there one thing that you would try to change?
The apathy, if you will, the fact that we have representatives that no longer have a concern for their constituents. They don't come back to the district to hold town halls. They don't even brief them as to what's going on in Washington. They're more concerned about becoming rich or currying favor with the party that's in charge or the White House. And that needs to change. It needs to go back to your basics. It's about people. And that's what I would want to change.
Yeah, again, talking to Nigel Bristow, running for District 9, U.S. Congress. It's a large geographical area it covers. So the primary is coming up Tuesday, March 3rd. Why are you the right choice for U.S. Congress District 9? Why should people come to the polls and vote for Nigel Bristow?
Well, as I stated earlier, our representatives have forgotten who sent them to Washington in the first place. Your representative is supposed to represent you, because after all, the Constitution says that Congress was enacted to be the voice of the people. And I'm looking to return that voice to Congress where it belongs. I'm running a People First campaign. And when we say People First, that's everybody, including seniors, the elderly, veterans, and those particular individuals are often forgotten by our government. Your representative should protect you and listen to you and hear what you're saying. Now, I've done that my whole life. You know, my whole life has been public service. I have receipts showing that's what I've done, whether being in the police department, starting as a beat cop, and working in the communities at the time when New York was most crime-ridden in the 90s.
Yeah.
Pretty much working shoulder to shoulder, identifying those strategies and helping the community become more safe. So having said that, you know, that is what you need to see in a representative, someone who will take that time and listen to you and work with you and work with others to make your life better. Because essentially, as a representative, I have one job, and that's just to make your life better.
You have a wonderful handout here. It's a very nice, glossy, good quality. There are priorities on the back. And before we conclude, any priorities you want to let our audience know about? And how do people find out about Nigel Bristow running for District 9 Congress?
Well, we have we're on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and thanks to my son, we're on TikTok.
Oh, boy.
We have a website, Nigel Bristow for Congress. I could be reached via email, nigelbristowforcongress@gmail.com, and I answer the emails. And essentially, you know, my main priorities is what I hear from the people in the district. We've been doing People First tour throughout the district, and we hear the same things. And a lot of it has to do with affordability, access to affordable health care, and education. You know, pretty much run-of-the-mill, pocketbook, everyday issues. And these are the things that need to be addressed so people can be successful and live that American dream.
Great. Well, thank you for joining me today, Nigel.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Again, talking to Nigel Bristow, running for District 9 U.S. Congress. You've been listening to Candidate Conversations on the WIDU Radio Network. Until next